Here's a trick that's been spreading through garages and online forums. With just a simple piece of aluminum foil, you may be able to restore an old yellowed car headlight. That's it. No expensive restoration kit, no power tools. Stay with me until the end because the final result may surprise you. Before I touch the headlight, I want to test this idea on something smaller first. I tear off a few pieces of aluminum foil, roll them into small balls, and drop them into a bowl. Then I squeeze in some toothpaste and add a few spoons of baking soda. The toothpaste gives us fine polishing particles, while the baking soda helps loosen surface buildup. Before I touch the headlight, I want to test this idea on something smaller first. This old silver bracelet has turned dark and dull, and that happens when silver reacts with sulfur chemicals in the air or even sweat from your skin. If this mixture can brighten the bracelet, then we have a reason to try it on the headlight. Now I place the dark silver bracelet into the bowl and pour in enough boiling water to cover it completely. Be careful here because hot water can splash back fast. I stir the mixture slowly so the paste breaks apart and spreads around the foil and the bracelet. While the bracelet sits in that hot mixture, I don't want to waste the waiting time. Now I prepare the version we'll use on the headlight itself. I squeeze about half a bowl of toothpaste into a clean bowl, then add a small amount of dish soap and stir until the mixture turns smooth and creamy. The toothpaste gives us gentle polishing action. The dish soap helps the mixture spread across the plastic instead of sticking in one thick spot. That matters because this headlight has yellowing across the whole lens, not just one corner. Now I cover the bowl tightly with aluminum foil. Then I warm the outside with a heat gun, moving the heat back and forth instead of holding it in one place. We only want to warm the mixture, not cook it or burn the foil. This step helps the paste loosen and spread more evenly later. The silver test is still working in the background, but this second bowl is the real question. If this mixture can grip the cloudy plastic and help the foil polish evenly, we may finally see whether that yellow haze can actually come off. Now, let's check the first test. I remove the foil cover and lift the bracelet out of the bowl. Look at the difference. The dark layer has loosened and the silver surface looks bright again. That gives this trick some credibility. But metal is one thing. The real test is still that yellow plastic headlight we saw at the start. Now we finally move to the headlight. I spread the warm toothpaste mixture across the lens with a brush, making sure every yellowed area gets covered. Then I take one of the crumpled aluminum foil balls and start rubbing in straight overlapping strokes. Watch the motion here. I do not scrub in tight circles. I move along the shape of the headlight from one side to the other with steady pressure. The foil gives light abrasion, the toothpaste helps polish, and the soap keeps the paste moving across the plastic instead of drying in one spot. If the foil gets flat or dirty, just roll a fresh piece and keep going. The goal is not to grind the plastic. The goal is to loosen that cloudy, oxidized layer little by little. And already you can see the yellow haze starting to break apart. Now I rinse the headlight with clean water and wipe away the paste. Look at that change. Most of the yellow color has faded, but the lens still has a light, cloudy film. That cloudy look tells us we are not finished yet. Now I spray water on the lens and wet the P800 sandpaper before touching the surface. P800 removes the damaged outer layer more evenly than the foil can. I keep the paper flat move in straight passes and add more water whenever the surface starts to dry. At this stage, the headlight may look hazier, and that is normal. After rinsing, the lens already looks cleaner, so I switch to P1500 sandpaper. This grit does not remove as much material. Instead, it refines the scratches left by P800 and starts bringing back clarity. I keep the surface wet, use light pressure, and work across the whole lens evenly. After another rinse, the plastic looks noticeably brighter. For the final sanding step, I brush on the mixture one more time and spread it into a thin, even layer. Then I take P2000 sandpaper, wet it well, and begin smoothing the surface again. P2000 is much finer, so it helps reduce the small sanding marks and prepares the lens for the final wipe. This is the stage where patience matters. Do not press hard. Let the water, the paste, and the fine grit do the work. I move in long, straight strokes and overlap each pass so I do not leave uneven patches. Tell me in the comments, when you restore headlights, do you usually stop at 1,500 pesos? Or do you go all the way to 2,000 pesos? Now I rinse everything again and wipe the lens clean. The change is easy to see. The headlight has recovered most of its clarity, and I would say we are already close to 90% better than where we started. Now for the final reveal, I spray a small amount of WD-40 onto a clean cloth and wipe the headlight from one side to the other. Watch closely. Wherever the cloth passes, the plastic turns glossier almost immediately. WD-40 does not rebuild damaged plastic, but it can fill tiny surface marks temporarily and make the clarity stand out. And compared to the yellow cloudy headlight we started with, this is a huge difference. So the foil trick alone helped, but the real result came from combining polishing, wet sanding, and a final wipe. If you found this useful, like, subscribe to Dan Fix, and tell me what old car part you want to restore next.